Ruben Amorim gave an interview, talked about how he wanted to be Manchester United manager for the next 20 years. After a difficult start at life to Old Trafford, he said he knew he would struggle, but he's optimistic ahead of the new season. We're going to play a little clip of the interview and react on the other side. Thought this was a real telling part of the discussion with Ruben Amorim.
How you see it in a day-to-day.
I don't want to. It's hard to talk about that in this moment because it seems like I'm saying bad things about the last year or the last years. But I think in every detail, I think we are better in the organization of the day by day. The nutrition is better, the way we cook, what we eat, how we prepare training. I think we are more organized. I think we have people now that help us to be better. I'm not concerned with small things, and I was in the last year. So that thing help us and help me to think more about watching the game, watching the team. So it's a big help for me. When it's a big help for the technical staff, it's a big help for the players. Then I think the players are working really well, and they understood that they need to give 100%. If they don't give that, it's going to be hard for them here. So that is also important. And I think we are getting to one point. I know that this is still really early, but I feel in the group that if someone comes to our group now, I will not have to fight all the fights. And I felt that last year. Now I feel.
I thought that's a big look. Just a little quote there from Amorim, but I thought he talked about a lot about setting everything up, the infrastructure. Doesn't have to worry about the details. He can focus on the football. Also, just the core leadership group that he discussed, and how he doesn't have to fight all the fights because he has internal policing. It took a lot to get here. I mean, he did come mid-season. He does have this preseason, so he's saying all the right things. You're seeing the fitness. You're seeing everything out of these players. Talking about leadership, rebuilding the org from the ground up. So it's not all about on the pitch, but at the end of the day, at some point, it does become how you perform at the end of the day.
And, some of that, to be fair, we have seen in preseason glimpses of it. The intensity looks higher. The fitness is definitely better. It's sharp. It was sharper, other than the Everton game. So it's encouraging. He's saying all the hype stuff that you want to hear, that we've heard every season headed into a new season. But with his track record and also just like how things played out over the last, 9 months, there is some truth, at least that you think you could find out of it, in the sense that like he's going to get a preseason. The preseason does seem to be coalescing the team around his vision. Also, the way that players have been talking about him, they're just like, they're all dialed in. He's the fucking king. He runs the show. They are bought into his vision. You heard from Luke Shaw. You heard from some of the other lads as well. So I'm encouraged. I'm hyped up. I'm ready to rock, dude. He talked about, I want to be at United for 20 fucking years. Like, yeah, me and you too, brother. So we'll see. It's all going to come down to like, how do those first 5 games go? We'll know probably after the first 1 or 2 games. It was like, are the players behind him? Are they willing to run through walls for him? Because that's his system. His system is like, I need all dogs. There's nowhere to hide.
100%.
He talked about it, bro. He's like, no, I think it was Shaw who was like, you give him 95%, you give him 90%, like he will chew you out and make sure you know about that is not acceptable. I think him raising the standards, that's what we need. We're going to have to squeeze this fucking stone, bro, and get as much blood as we can out of it. And we needed new players, but we were never going to get the level of players we needed. So it's about like making the most out of like the Delo. Bro, Delo, what you got? Like, can he squeeze that stone? We'll see.
No, but that's in service of the ownership, right? Basically saying, we get more out of what I have. Like, he should be backed. Let's talk about
He's not being
that.
backed.
It's like Amorim needs to be backed. Like, you see him on the sidelines of preseason. I love how pissed he is.
He's so
He's
pissed.
furious at he's killing them. This guy is the coach that we need to take us from the deep, dark depths. The problem is, you look at who's in the boat, and we got a lot of bluffers, and we know how they turn. And when they turn, and then they get nothing on the pitch, there's a tight window for this man to sort of like get us through that, like that Death Star exit, And I feel like he's the man because he just has this intensity about him, and he hates anybody giving less than the standard. He's setting the standard, and that could either go spectacularly and bring us to the promised land, or just explode and crash and burn. And I just feel like you're going to get either or with Amorim, and I really like him. But the 38% win rate, killing me, man. You have to get results. This is Manchester United. I don't need to remind anyone listening to this podcast. As much as I like Ruben Amorim, last season sucked. That final sucked. He deserves a lot of blame in that. And at the end of the day, I think he's doing everything right. And I think this team was an absolute shit show. And I think he needs time, but he needs to be backed. He needs to be backed. And INEOS needs to get those 3 players in we just talked about. Because without that, he's getting the same fate as every other manager, which is being hung out to dry by the ownership. And that has to be talked about too. Because if we concede goals, we don't have a 6, and he asked for it and he didn't get it, that's a huge component of it too. So there's a lot of layers in it, but I really like Amorim. I really think he's got that, he's got that look. He's got the craziness about him that could bring us back.
No, you could see why he has brought such emotion out of certain players, at least at Sporting, what we hope to see at United, because I want to run through a wall for him. What he has is like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'll take it into the abyss. Let's take United back to where it belongs. And I think the players getting on board, like you said, there's been a decade of half measures. No manager really has been backed the way that they, I'm sure, wanted to be backed, especially him. And at this point, you need to get all in on a system. You need to give him the tools to be effective and successful this season. And I hope he is, because obviously everybody in this pod, everybody listens, everybody who follows Manchester United wants them to succeed. I want him to be the guy to bring us back, because I like his fucking attitude, which is like, you work your ass off, you die for this team. This is a fucking privilege. Follow me into the great yonder, sir. Let's go to battle with Ruben Amorim.